Records. I'm your host, Jay Stoyan. You're in for a treat today. Down here, Witchwood Barns, Artscape, Christie Street. Come on down, check us out. We have free parking. Free parking. We also have a dog park. We have a volleyball park. It's a great area, great for the community. So again, we're down here, 601 Christie Street, Artscape, Witchwood Barns. You're watching Wild Child Records, and we have a show for you today. Sitting beside me, we have music sensation Josh Taerk. Josh is going to tell us all about his illustrious career, the people that support him, including AMG and Sony Music, and a worldwide producer is going to be on the show later on. His name is Mark Berry. Now, Mark has worked with the starlets of the world. He's worked with the Stones, he's worked with Paul McCartney, David Bowie, the list goes on and on. Pop Cherry. We're going to talk a little bit about Pop Cherry's connection later in the show. I really want to thank Mark, but we'll talk about that later. Right now, we're going to get into Josh, as he is a triple threat. He's a singer, he's a songwriter, and he's a musician. So Josh, thanks for being on the show today.
Hey, thank you very much for having me, Jay.
This is great. Now, we were talking off the air a little bit. His whole family are musicians. So tell us, we'll talk about you, but I really want to get into the dynamics of your brother. So tell us what's going on latest, and then we'll go back, and then we'll jump up.
Absolutely. Well, I've got an incredible live stream that's coming up. We partnered with a phenomenal group in the UK called Get Ready to Rock Radio. And one Sunday a month, we do an entire live stream radio show that you can stream from Get Ready to Rock Radio, or you can stream from my Facebook page. We've also got live shows coming up at the end of this month. We're booking tons of stuff for the summer, and we've got some new music on the way as well.
Speaking about Facebook, we're live right now on Facebook.
There you go. And
it's blowing up, so make sure you comment. Josh, we'd love to hear from you, and we'll respond
100%.
too. So again, we're live on Facebook, the Disability Channel. Now, being a younger guy, right, compared to me, how is it now online? How's the online presence, the response? Because like 10 years ago, no one would ever do a concert online.
I think that the invention of social media and the strides that they've taken in the technology and the way that you can interact with people online is fantastic. I think it's given artists, creatives, musicians, personally, the ability to reach people that they weren't able to reach before, and also reconnect with fans from different parts of the world that they may not be able to go back to. I started my career touring in the UK and was touring through regions of Scotland, England, and Wales. And so some of those places are a little bit more difficult to get back to, especially being a kid from Toronto. So doing things like Twitch live streams, Facebook lives, Instagram lives, gave me the ability to not only make new fans and share my music with new people, but reconnect with some of my old fans that I hadn't been able to see live for a while.
And I guess there's also revenue opportunities too, right, with the live streaming?
Absolutely. And I would say, Facebook has done a great job of jumping on that bandwagon. I know Instagram has inputted some stuff as well. The one that I know very intimately is Twitch, because I started using Twitch during the pandemic to kind of supplement the you have to stay at home, but have that bug to play live. So
this is really interesting because, with my association with music, things have changed so much over the years, right? Over the years, and we're going to talk a little bit about with Mark, because he knows the industry inside and out, and how he's had to become flexible and innovative and stay up with the times, right? So let's talk about three things. So songwriting,
absolutely,
singing, and playing. Now, which one do you find the most enjoyable?
Oh, they all serve different purposes in my life, and I can't say that I fell in love with one more than the others, because they all kind of bled into each other. I started playing guitar, and when I was about 12, 13, I had really long curly hair like Slash. I've got a couple pictures online of like a comparison, and you'll be shocked to see the resemblance, but I thought that was my thing. I thought I was going to be a lead guitar player. Yeah. That was going to be the way I went. And then started learning how to play on the acoustic, started learning chords, and I realized very quickly if I wanted people to know what song I was playing, I'd have to sing. And so I kind of fell into singing, fell in love with singing, and then from there started writing my own stuff. And
now, did you take any lessons for either or?
Absolutely.
You did?
When I was starting out, I took guitar lessons for a while, and then past guitar lessons, I started taking vocal lessons.
Vocal lessons.
And I always look at it like you can't know enough about the thing that you love to do. So anytime you have a passion for something, there's always more that you can learn about it. There's always more things that you can discover, even about your own way of doing it.
Did you think you could sing, or did you hey, I can sing, or did somebody say, hey, you can sing?
So it's a very funny story. I always loved performing and would do like school plays and stuff like that, but I never considered myself a singer or a musician. And so when I started playing guitar, I would kind of sing for small groups of my friends. And I was at summer camp working as a counselor and had an off period. So I sat down with a couple of my buddies, pulled out the guitar and started singing. And this really, really pretty girl sits down in front of us and says, I know, right? It's the gateway. That's the gateway.
It is, yeah.
And she says, what are you playing? I said, oh, it's Wonderwall by Oasis. I was puffing out my chest. I felt really good about myself in that moment. She goes, oh, well, can you start it again and sing it? Because if you don't sing, I'm not going to be able to follow along with it. And my stomach just dropped into my feet because I was like, you know, unless you were my shampoo bottle, I wasn't like putting on performances.
Yeah.
But again, she was really pretty. And it was in front of my friends, so I was like, okay, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
That's right.
Started the song again, started singing. When I was done, she looked at me and she said, I didn't know you were a singer. I said, neither did I.
So there you go.
Been
And
singing
this is just
since.
a random person, right? So they're the most honest people, right?
Absolutely.
Like you don't want to ask your mom. Because you know your mom might be a little biased.
You know, it's funny. I have a really, really close relationship with my family. I'm the oldest of 5.
Yeah.
And we're all very creative. All of us are very musically inclined too. And so they're always very honest with their input. But like you were saying, when you have somebody who's outside of that family unit telling you like, wow, I think you got something here. Like, that's really great. It hits a different chord.
Yeah.
You know?
So you say you got 5 siblings. Now, I know off camera we're talking, you have 2 younger brothers.
I do.
And I guess you have 2 sisters.
So I've got 3 younger brothers.
Oh, 3 younger
and
brothers.
a sister.
Oh.
And I'm the oldest.
Now, are the other 2 musically inclined? Or
They
no?
are, yes.
They are too?
Yeah, they kind of do it for pleasure. They don't really like pursue that as part of their career. But the 2 that I write with the most, Ryan and Matt, they've actually played live with me a couple of times. They've been on a lot of my recordings as well. And
Would you guys, like, as you move, like, as your younger brothers get older, do you guys ever talk about forming, like, a band?
we've talked about it a lot, yeah. And we all have different passions and different passion projects that we're a part of that sometimes take us away from that, you know, let's form a band and let's write something and let's make a record. My brother Ryan's an actor, and so that takes him away for periods of time. My brother Matt is also a screenwriter and photographer and a chef, so he's got a lot of like hands in different pies kind of thing.
Would it be nice to get your sister involved, because that's a
would love
female
that.
voice,
I
right?
would
That's a
love
different
that.
that's a different angle.
So my baby sister, I think she has a beautiful voice. She plays a bunch of instruments. She doesn't love being in the spotlight.
Yeah.
And I completely respect that. Doesn't love performing for people. And that's definitely a big part of it. I feel that if you want to get into something like this, that is a big element, especially these days with live streaming and social media. You do kind of have to want to be in that position.
Spotlight. Now, but you said she's young, right? So maybe
she's-
when she gets a little older,
It's possible.
right?
You never
she
know,
might,
right?
you know, break out of her shell a little bit.
Never say never.
Why don't we take a quick break? Because when I want to come back, I want to talk about the dynamics of you and AMG and Sony.
Absolutely.
Because I know we have lots of independent and emerging artists watching.
Very much
And I
so,
think you could share some really important information without giving away the house, of course.
Hey, I would
right?
love to.
So stay tuned. You're watching Wild Child Records. On the show today, we have Josh Taerk. Later in the show, we have from AMG, we have worldwide famous producer Mark Berry coming on. So stay tuned. Give us a comment. I know our Facebook page is blowing up, so we'll be right back with Wild Child Records.
Friends, it's an absolute pleasure to send greetings as you gather for this fantastic fundraiser in support of the Disability Channel and Legion 60. Thanks to everyone involved for the important work you do for our veterans and people with disabilities. You're supporting them as they gain valuable work experience and helping build a stronger Ontario for everyone. You're all absolute champions. Your generosity is greatly appreciated, and I hope you have a fantastic event.
Hi, I'm Brad May, and you're watching the Disability Channel, showcasing abilities.
Welcome back to Wild Child Records. Wow, that was a quick break.
There you go.
So there you go. Yeah, so again, we're live on Facebook. Do comment. We have lots of stuff coming up. I just want to mention, so later after the show, we're going to be switching over live to Twitch as we're going to be having an open mic hosted by veteran and really good guy, Vince Campbell. He's bringing down a few of his veterans friends. You don't have to be a veteran. You don't have to be disabled. Come on down to our studio. It's free. Play some tunes, get on camera, maybe get noticed by Mark Berry. Hey, there's my dog in the background. Now that's the seal of the show,
The star
right
of the
there.
show, for
Star
sure.
of the show.
For sure.
So again, we're here with musician Josh Taerk. Now, what I want to do is flip it a little bit and let's talk a little business.
Absolutely.
And tell us how you sort of got intertwined with AMG and what they do for you and Sony and Mark. So tell us about that first relationship, that first meeting with Mark and AMG.
So
Or how you met them or whatever.
Absolutely. I've been an independent musician for a long time. I started writing and recording music when I was 16. And so from there, I had to wear a lot of different hats, and I had to learn how to manage, book tours, route tours, do all of those things. And it was through those efforts and through the things that I was learning, just kind of jumping into it and having that passion and that belief in what I was doing that led me to Mark. I was playing a big show in Toronto, and I reached out to him. Forget what social media service I had reached out to him on, but I reached out to him, and he responded back.
Out of the blue.
Out of the blue. I took a shot in the dark, and I went, hey, we're connected, we're following each other. It would be great to see you at the show. Let me know if you'd like to come. And sure enough, a week or so before the show, we talked. He said, I'd love to be there.
Wow.
He came out, and the rest is history.
That's kind of lucky, right? Like in our world, that's kind of lucky to have a famous producer reply, first of all.
I mean,
first of all, and then to show interest in you, and then so take us from there.
I'm very grateful for it. And I've loved working with Mark and the guys at AMG, and through them getting that distribution through Sony has been fantastic. And to every musician that's out there, and anybody that has a dream, really, that's working and trying to figure out how do I make this happen, you just got to keep doing it. You got to keep sending messages. You got to keep believing in what you're doing, because you work towards those moments of grace.
So tell emerging artists now, what is the game plan to make a living as a musician and your name is not Burton Cummings or Beyonce or Mariah? You know what I mean? Like you're a 9-to-5er, but you're a good musician. How do you make a living, Josh?
So being in the music business, you have to recognize that it's not just about being creative. It's about also being business-minded and thinking about the skills that you have in more than just, okay, I can write songs, I can produce my own music, and I can release my own music. Because if you're a songwriter, there are a lot of things that you can do as a songwriter and as a writer in general. There are a lot of different ways that you can take your copywritten material and earn from those. There are different skills that you can gather along the way. I mean, I didn't start off being able to produce my own records. I didn't start off being able to understand how to use broadcasting software. But if you love something enough and you're dedicated enough to your vision, to your dream, and to all of the things that you can see yourself doing, you start to get excited about learning these things and applying these different things to your career.
And I know there's two more angles, because there's also film and television. We're going to talk a little bit more about Mark later. Let's go back to the creative side now. So when you're songwriting,
yes, what
are some of your inspirations, like you've used in the past?
Everything.
Yeah?
I'm one of those writers that I can't plan it. It doesn't happen when I try and force it to happen. But if I'm open to it, it can be anything from a TV show, a book that I'm reading. I wrote a couple songs a while back.
Yeah.
I was sitting in my backyard with my dad. I had just come off of tour, and we were having a drink outside, and the sun was just kind of in that like golden light period. And I remember sitting there with him thinking, this is great. And he goes, well, I'm going to go, grab another drink and come back out, because I don't know how many more days like this we're going to have before it turns into fall. And I sat there for a second as he went inside, and I was like,
right there, eh?
How many days we have like this? That's a really interesting way to phrase it. And then by the time he came back, I was like, can I play you something? I just So it always happens differently. Sometimes it's the melody that comes first. Sometimes it's the lyrics that come first. But I love that it always takes me by surprise.
Are you a rhymer?
I do like rhyming. I do like not rhyming for specific reasons
Yeah.
as well. I love playing with language.
That's how I do it. That's how I start to write. I pick a word that I want to write the song about, and then it's all about rhyming for me.
That's very cool.
That's how I do. I just pick a word, like an inspiration. Like for instance, when I did my song, it was all about disabilities, so that was the word. And then but what I did, like I looked at was the Eagles song, "Take It Easy on Me." I looked at that song and I looked at how they wrote it, and I thought, okay, I get that because they rhyme and. And that's how I did. I don't know. It's like it just comes to you. You can't sit down. It just got to come to you, sort of thing.
And like with anything, the more you do it, the more you realize that you can take that structure and change it and play with it. And it's one of the things that I loved about it. I'm an English lit major as well, and so studying English lit, Virginia Woolf had a really, really famous quote where she says, "You got to use the master's tools to take down the master's house." You got to learn how something works inside and out before you can start rearranging it, playing with it, changing it, and it's great when you get to that place.
This is great, Josh. So I know you say you have your online gig.
Yes.
But you also have another gig coming up.
I do. For anybody that's in the GTA, I'm playing an acoustic show, which I don't do very often actually. It's a lot of full band stuff, but I'm playing an acoustic show at the Black Swan Tavern, February 28th at 9:30.
This is great. So what we're going to do, I know he has his guitars right beside him, but before we break those open, let people know if they want to find out more information about you. Josh, where could they go?
Absolutely. I am all over the internet, and I love being available like that because I love meeting people. I love connecting with people, whether it's online or in person through music. There is nothing better for me.
So where could they reach you? Like just Facebook, Taerk? Like
if you type in Josh Taerk into your search engine of choice, I've got a website. I'm on Twitch, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Threads.
There you go.
I've got music on Spotify, Apple Music. Believe we're on Pandora and Amazon Music as well.
Beautiful. On the show today, we had Josh Taerk. I think I've been mispronouncing your name. I'm sorry about that. That's all good. Yeah, but that's good though.
Not the worst one that I've heard too. Like it's,
Josh Taerk. There you go. So when we come back, we're going to have on music producer Mark Berry from AMG, and we're going to be breaking out some songs.
Fantastic.
So stay tuned. You're watching Wild Child Records. On the show today, we had Josh Taerk. Josh Taerk. There you go. Stay tuned. We'll be right back with Wild Child Records.
Hello, everyone. Bonjour, bonjour. As Lieutenant Governor of Ontario, I'm delighted to offer my best wishes for success to the many friends and staff of the Disability Channel for your October 12th fundraiser in support of employment programs for persons with disabilities and veterans. Removing barriers wherever they exist, creating accessible spaces, and promoting greater equity are all central to this province's efforts to rebuild from the COVID-19 pandemic. So help us to ensure a more inclusive and resilient future, one that works for everybody. Please accept my thanks and encouragement. Keep up your inspiring and dedicated work. Thank you. Merci, miigwech.
Welcome back to Wild Child Records. I'm your host, Jay Stoyan. On the show, we had music sensation Josh Taerk. He's still with us. He's going to play a couple songs later in the song, but there's such a dynamic that I wanted him to be a part of this interview. But let me introduce world-famous music producer Mark Berry on the show. Mark, thanks for being on the show today.
Absolutely, man.
This is great.
Yeah,
this
great
is
to be
great.
here.
I've researched this guy. My goodness, he has played with the biggest names and independent and emerging. Like, I love the way Mark, you give just as much respect to somebody like Josh as you would to David Bowie.
Absolutely.
A lot of people don't do that in your industry.
That's true.
You know, and like what he said, he didn't know you. He, gave you a shout out, and you came out. And so I got to commend you on that because not many people will do that. So
You know, in respect to Josh, it always comes down to the song. So I was hearing songs and they were sticking to me as I'm walking down the street. I'm humming his melodies and I'm going, okay, that says there's something there. So.
I was just going to say that. What is it with the new artist? What is it that sticks in your mind?
It's the songs.
The songs,
The
eh?
songs,
Yeah. And so take us back now. Like take our viewers because everybody's commenting on Facebook now. So take us back. Like I know you're a New Yorker, right? So how long are you been in Canada now?
Gosh, I've been in Canada for 38 years.
38 years. And was there a reason you moved up here?
My lawyer, Paul Schindler, still my lawyer to this day, would have me fly around the world and produce records for his clients.
Okay.
So I go to Australia, I work for Michael Gudinski at Mushroom Records, hang out there for 3 months. Then I'd go to London, UK and work for Polygram Records for 3 months, just mixing and producing and stuff, and just all over the world. And Paul represented a band here called Platinum Blonde.
Okay, I know Platinum.
And their management company. And they put us together. And I came up, I did a record with Kenny McLean, the bass player.
Yeah.
Won a Juno. Very successful record, and the rest is history.
So you know Paris Blackman too, then?
Paris
you know Paris,
Blackman,
right?
okay.
I mean, they were all in my studio.
Everybody knows
Yeah,
Paris.
they were in my. Yeah, you know Paris, eh? This is so funny. Like I just met Mark probably about a couple months ago, but we're talking. We know everybody, the same people in the industry. Like we're going to talk about a special one that we just had on the weekend. So tell us now the makeup of AMG. Tell us what AMG does. Mark.
Okay, so AMG is a music, film, and television company.
Okay.
And we have a label services division, which is how we work with Josh. So Josh piggybacked our deal at Sony. We go through 2 different divisions of wholly owned subsidiaries of Sony Music. So we do that. Then we do Spotify playlisting, which we were very successful with getting millions of streams for Josh on his Spotify accounts and elsewhere. And then we put songs into film, TVs, video games, ad agencies, movie trailer companies.
Yeah, I was on AMG website. So tell me what are the visuals? Is that film and television? When you say visuals?
Visuals is film and television. So we have a film out now that's doing very, very well on AMC Shutter called The Sacrifice Game, and that was just nominated one of the top 3 films by Hollywood Reporter magazine.
Oh, wow.
Horror films for 2023. So that's a good one. We've got Bloodline Killer with Academy Award winner Bruce Dern and Tyrese Gibson. Tyrese Gibson from Fast and the Furious. And we have The Track, which is a horse racing reality-based program.
When did you move into the film and television?
We were always in it.
Always in it, right?
We were always in it. There was a big synergy between the publishing division of AMG, which is 50% owned by BMG Music, and we were doing a lot of insertions, even on our own, film and television.
So before '98, because that's when that's when you sort of created AMG.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So, but before that, you were with.
I was independent producing.
Independent.
Yeah, just Headstones, Killjoys.
So contracted through Sony, whoever, you're on your own.
Yeah.
So tell me now, what's the big difference that you've noticed between south of the border and north of the border? When it comes to the music industry, for a musician's sake.
It's a very tiny market here. It's 10% of the U.S. market. So the goal is to, and that was part of my immigration coming to Canada, was that I would take an artist, I'd produce an artist, let's say for example like a Josh Taerk, and then I'd get on an airplane and I'd go to the Medem conference in the south of France. And I'd say, here Germany, here's a new record by Josh Taerk. Here France, here's a new record. Here Japan, here's a new record. And we get the records out, So anything having to do with the exportation of anything culturally based, film, television, artists, music artists, whatever, they love.
Now, what I've heard, but I could be totally wrong, is now labels are just looking for hits. They're not really looking for the albums anymore. Is that true?
Yeah, I mean, they want hits,
Yeah,
but
they want
they also want the ball at the 50-yard line before they sign any act.
Are they still willing to invest a couple years in artists, or not like before? Like, because you always hear we didn't hit a hit song until our fourth album, like back in the day, right?
Yeah, not like before. You know, in Canada, it's a different market here because they say they're basically distribution outlets. And if you are a Canadian-based artist, they say, okay, well, go to Factor. We'll give you a distribution deal. You fund the record through Factor, which is a government grant agency.
Okay.
You make the record.
Yeah.
We'll distribute it, and then we'll get it out through our Universal or Sony affiliates worldwide.
And then you guys split the percentage? Is that
Yeah,
how it
whatever
works?
percentages work
Whatever
out.
you work out with
Whatever's
the artist,
worked out.
right?
Yeah, yeah.
So basically, it's up to the artist to go and make the album, right?
Right.
And then you,
Through a grant from the
or
government.
through however
Yeah,
you're going to get
yeah,
money, right?
yeah, yeah.
But you guys no longer, like, those days are over where you pay for the production of an album. Are those days sort of gone?
Those days are over.
Those days are over, eh?
Yeah.
Unless you're like, or even for the big guys.
Yeah, I mean, like in the early 90s, I was doing, you know, so many major label productions. They don't really exist anymore.
They don't exist
I mean, it's like artists like Josh financing something on their own, right? And then we're going out trying to create value for it so that a major label can come along and say, okay,
Now, is that all because of Napster?
yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I think so.
It is, isn't it?
I think so, yeah.
Like, it's too bad because as a non-musician, I would say, why do you give away your music? But those days are gone now,
Yeah,
right?
they don't exist
Yeah.
anymore.
So take us now, and then when we want to come back, I want to talk about some of your artists that you've produced for. So take us now how Sony is attached to the AMG side of things.
Okay, so Sony has affiliate divisions of other distributors and or record companies that they own.
Okay.
Right? Wholly owned subsidiaries. So a lot of the digital outlets are considered to be farm teams.
Okay.
Okay, so you know they do a record on their own, like Josh. They put it out. It starts creating value, and on that farm team, whatever it's on, there's a major label system that owns it and says, okay, Josh Taerk's making a lot of noise here. Why don't we bump him up to a Sony wholly owned label?
Okay.
Arista Records, Epic Records, Columbia Records, BMG.
And is there a standard percentage that the artist gets, like an average? Is there
Every
like,
deal is different.
every
deal
deal-
is
every-
different
I
today
guess
because,
that's how-
like, if someone like Josh
Popular.
is coming in, he owns his masters.
Okay.
What a great position to be in.
Okay.
If we put a song in a movie for $100,000, that 50,000 goes to Josh because he owns the master.
Okay.
Right?
Okay. So that's very interesting, right? But that's why you need a producer like Mark to tell you what's going on. So right now in the studio we have at Wild Child Records, we have world famous producer Mark Berry, and we have Josh Taerk. Now Josh is going to take us to the break with one of his originals, if you would, Josh.
Absolutely.
And then we come back, we're going to learn a little bit more about who Mark has produced over the years. So put your hands together. We want to see some comments on Facebook, everybody. Let's see some comments. Josh, take away. What are you going to play for us?
So I'm going to play a song for you that I wrote off of my last record.
Okay.
And you know, it's amazing. I was in Denver seeing Kings of Leon with a really good buddy of mine.
Oh.
And it was one of those days and one of those nights where there was just magic everywhere. We got to Red Rocks. It was outside. It was still pretty warm by the time we got there, but in the middle of the set, it started snowing. Kings of Leon were doing an incredible job. They loved that it was snowing because it kind of bonded them with the audience. We stayed out until the wee hours of the morning, and I had to get back onto a plane because I had to head back out, go back on tour, go record. And I remember driving up to the airport, just thinking about all the life that I had lived the night before. And as the sun started to rise, over the little hills just in front of the airport, I saw this statue. Big horse rearing into the distance as the sun was coming up. Big orange, yellow flames shooting across the sky. And as I got closer, it's like, it's a midnight blue Mustang. That's a midnight Mustang. I wrote this song. This town took more from us than we had ever made. Broken promise, broken past the point where the hourglass means anything but time. When during rain we don't grow old, we just grow more alive. Far from the shadows, the city lights, and the darkness that fills up swallows the night and the stars. You can't see the light, how do you know who you really are? I wanna live like a midnight Mustang, baby, wanna be free. I wanna go where the wind don't whisper, where the sky's on fire, oh, it's free. I wanna live like a midnight Mustang, baby, wanna be free. The midnight are the white lines, my road, my home, my destiny. So run with me, run with me. I wanna live like a midnight Mustang, baby, wanna be free. I wanna roam where the wind don't whisper, where the sky's on fire and the poets scream. I wanna live like a midnight Mustang. I wanna be free. I wanna roam where the wind don't whisper, where the sky's on fire and the poets scream. I wanna live like a midnight Mustang, baby, wanna be free. Where the only stars are the big white lines, my road, my home, my destiny. So run with me, run with me. Oh, I wanna live. Oh, I want to live. So run with me, run with me. Oh, I wanna live. Oh, I wanna live. So run with me, run with me.
Yeah. That's what I'm talking about.
Wonderful way to take it out to the break. So stay tuned. We'll be right back with Wild Child Records.
Hi, this is Dave Stevens with the Disability Channel.
An inability to break out. I'm sitting by the door on the second floor, losing my 7-year war. It's not an illusion, so why the exclusion?
Yeah, it doesn't matter. It's about you. So,
You say you're a disability dynamo.
Joining me, and welcome to this beautiful Travelers Championship.
I only want one accolade from you.
So my story is unique, it's amazing, but it's not anything that you guys don't have inside of you. I'm not a hero, I'm not anybody special. I'm just this guy without legs that went out, and I just did it.
Stats outweigh the Democrats, the diplomats, and the bureaucrats.
This is probably your first interview down on the ground on your butt and stuff like
First
that?
time ever,
All
baby.
right.
Eliminate and validate and validate and validate.
Stay with us and the Disability Channel.
Hi, this is Doug Smith, and you're watching the Disability Channel showcasing abilities.
Welcome back to the show. Wow, what a treat, Josh. That was amazing. That was really good. I was watching the 12 strings, like, wow, the way you play it, that's like really cool. But your voice is very full.
Thank you.
You got like a hearty voice. So this is great. Josh is going to take us out at the end of the show with another song. I want to talk to Mark about, Mark, tell us about some of your most memorable moments sitting across a table from an artist. Like, tell us who the artist would be and a funny story or a memorable story.
So it's probably got to go back to how I got started
Okay.
in the business, and that goes back to simply just not wanting to go to Vietnam
There you go.
as a kid, right?
Wow, that's interesting.
You know, every night you go downstairs, mom and dad, sisters, brothers, you know, we saw Walter Cronkite, the most trusted voice in news, and all you saw were body bags coming up there. So I said, Mom, Dad, they're going to grab me, without a doubt.
How old were you then? 19, 18?
16.
16.
16, but,
Wow.
you know, I was turning 18. So they said, what do you want to do? Well, I like music. I used to ask my dad, you know, hey, Dad, how come the drums for the Beatles are coming out of the left speaker and the vocals are coming out of the right speaker? My dad was like, I don't know, I'll go find out. You know? So I went to this place called the Institute of Audio Research in Manhattan, and I went there for 2 years at night after school during the day. And then the day after I graduated from high school, I had my little certificate in hand,
Nice.
and I was on a plane to London, England. And I just pounded the streets of London.
And how come you picked London?
Because
it was the hub, music hub?
All my favorite records
Okay.
had studios in London.
There you go.
You know, Led Zeppelin,
Yeah.
Elton John.
Beatles and all
you know,
that.
these were all the studios I wrote down. So
Okay.
Yeah, I got to go to Olympic Studios.
That's pretty,
try.
that's a pretty big initiative as a,
Yeah, well,
as a teenager. Like, that's pretty good.
there weren't really any other options.
Okay.
You know, so I did that. Anyway, I walked the streets of London, and luckiest kid in the world. I got a job at Air Studios through, you know, I went there to see Joyce, the studio manager. She wasn't there. They said come back the next day. I come back the next day.
You didn't know this person?
No. And they said come back the next day, and I came back the next day, and the receptionist wasn't there. So I started walking down the hallway of the main corridor of Air Studios, and this English kid, Nigel Walker, comes out and he goes, you know, are we going to help you? You know, and I said, yeah, I'm here to meet with Joyce. She goes, oh, Joyce isn't here today. You know, he goes, hey, you know, where's your accent from? I said, I'm from New York City. Oh, I love New York.
Really?
Come on in. And so I go into this session, and there's Alan Clark, who's the lead singer for the Hollies.
Wow.
Right? This a big hit, Long Cool Woman in a Black Dress. Dee Murray on bass from Elton John, and you know, just great musicians, and I'm just sitting there like, you know, just hanging out. And then I said, I'm going downstairs. I smoked at the time. I'm going out there, pack a smoke. Anyone want a coffee or a smoke? You know, and so it's like I took an order.
Yeah.
You know, it's like I went downstairs, came back, and you know, and then I said, do you mind if I come back tomorrow? And they said, no, come on back.
That's great.
And I started hanging out at Air Studios, and then Joyce came to me and said, hey, you know, do you want a job? You know, I said,
Really?
Do I want a job? Of course I want a job.
But you hung around. You were paying your dues.
Yeah. Hung
Right?
around. Yeah.
Hung around, right? That's what you do, right? You hang around.
Right.
Until they kick you out or they bring you in. So there you go.
So I was hanging out, and then they started assigning me to sessions, and one of the first major sessions was Live and Let Die, Paul McCartney. and
Wow.
Wings. So,
And you did have experience because you went to school.
I wasn't anywhere near the console. You know,
Well, at least you knew.
I was emptying ashtrays
Yeah.
and rolling up mic cables.
So tell us about this now.
But I'm hanging out with, you know, Sir George and Paul and Wings and, you know, and a 63-piece orchestra. And
So Paul would have been 40 maybe around then?
Yeah.
About 40,
Yeah,
right?
around 40, yeah,
40.
yeah.
And that was, so where was it in his career when you were there? Where was he right there?
Well, he had
Remember?
Wings. He had just started Wings.
Okay.
Yeah. So Wings was up and running, and then of course he got commissioned to do with Sir George the soundtrack for Live and Let Die.
What a song that is.
Yeah, I mean, live off the floor.
So tell us about that.
So it was the band was set up, the orchestra was set up, and I set up all these ashtrays and stuff around, and you know, all the mics were set up, and it was live off the floor.
Wow.
The only thing they overdubbed were the vocals and the guitar solo.
And how was Paul?
Huh? Paul's great. He's like, well, I remember cleaning up. I had to clean up the whole session, and you know, I'm out emptying the ashtrays, sweeping the floor, rolling up the cable, putting the mics away, and everything. And Sir Paul comes on. He just sits down at the piano and just starts. Hey, Mark. Where are you from? New York. Oh, yeah, I love New York. Yeah, you know, we started our career there in New York, you know. And we just had like an hour and a half conversation, you know, and I'm sitting there going.
You must have been pinching yourself.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Like that's good. Do you remember what songs he was playing
No,
on?
just
Just
all
whatever,
kinds
practicing.
of
Just
old
doing...
blues songs, and you know. Just,
Nice guy though.
Yeah, great guy.
Great guy, eh?
Great guy.
I mean, I could ask for another story, but I don't think he's going to top that one. Like that's how about David? Mention something about Bowie.
So David Bowie. So Michael Barrickman was the A&R guy at EMI.
Okay.
And I had been doing a lot of remixing for Polygram, and he liked my work, and he said, we got this new Bowie record coming into EMI. He had just signed with EMI. It was like one of the biggest deals out there. And they said, we want you to go to Never Let Me Down. All right?
Oh, okay, yeah.
So I went in, and first they said, you got to meet with Bowie and stuff like that. And so I go up to his manager's office and have a sit down with him. I said, what do you think? What are you looking for? And he goes, just do what you do.
Really, eh?
Yeah, he goes, you're here because I like what you do. Just do what you do.
This is David.
David Bowie, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Just do what you do.
I mean, such a superstar.
So I don't have to look over your shoulder.
So for the musicians that are just breaking into the business, tell them exactly what you do for them, like in a nutshell, if you can.
From a production standpoint?
Take it this way. Let's do this. So don't take Josh for an example, because we already talked about Josh, but take a musician who's watching me right now, like who's watching right now, and he thinks he's pretty good, and he says, wow, you know what, I'd love to sort of follow Josh's, journey.
Yeah.
Tell what they would do and what you do for them.
Well, like I said, for me, it's a song thing. The songs have to stick to me as a producer, and I got to be able to walk down the street humming a melody.
Okay.
Which I'm sure, the last song that Josh did, you're going to hum that melody.
Yeah. Exactly.
So when that sticks to me as a producer, that tells me, okay, there's something there. Basically, so it all comes down to the songs, and then if the production is not cool, I'll tell them it's not cool.
Okay.
Maybe you need to go back in the studio.
Pump it up a little bit or whatever.
Yeah, or do a remix or do some overdubs or, other stuff.
That's great. And before I let you go, I do want to say I want to thank Mark, because we had such a special weekend up in Wasaga. We went up to see rock legend Burton Cummings, and I want to thank Sam, and they were so nice to us, Sam and Burton and his team.
Sam's great.
And it was a great concert.
Yeah.
He still can pump it out. He's got the pipes. It was sold out show.
Yeah.
Beautiful venue up in Wasaga Beach.
Yeah. Sorry I missed that show, but I saw the one at Casino Rama a few months ago.
It was so good. So stay tuned, because hopefully we're going to be doing some great things with Burton and AMG and Sony and Mark. And so this is great. So before we let you go, Mark, if people want to find out more information, where can they get in touch with you?
They can go to theamgcorp.com, which is our company website.
Okay.
And everything about me and the company and what we do and how we do it is all there. I'm all over social media.
Well, that's great. I really appreciate being on the show today. Why don't we get Josh to take us out with one of a great cover song that we talked about. He can start it up, and he'll just take us right out. We'll see you next time. Again, I'm Jay Stoyan. You're watching Wild Child Records. Do comment on Facebook, please. Thank you.
Well, talking about New York and New Jersey, I grew up on a very healthy diet of Northeastern rock and roll. My dad is a big Springsteen fan. Actually followed Springsteen on tour for a little bit when he was in university, and played in a Springsteen cover band. So one of my first memories of hearing music and hearing music with a story.
Love the Boss.
Was Springsteen.
Love the Boss.
So I'll do a little Springsteen.
Sure. That's great. Guys, again, I want to thank you for being on the show today. Hey, everybody else who's watching on Facebook, we're going to be switching over to Twitch because we're going to be doing open mic hosted by veteran Vince Campbell. Hey, remember to hug a veteran today, right? We owe them 100%. So, again, you're watching Wild Child Records. I'm Jay Stoyan. We'll see you next time.